If you like the videos, like, sub, so comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. I actually had a couple of nice donations recently. It does help the channel for sure. Actually, someone said they like the FGC on NPC videos so much they want to donate. They want me to pick out a tablet to buy. I've never used a tablet before. They want more FGC on NPC videos. So thank you for that. I guess I got to figure out what is a good tablet, I guess. This is going to be a long video. I'm going to talk about a lot of different things while analyzing this game on a lot of sort of broad topics. So if you like that kind of stuff, if you like me predicting games, maybe you will like this video. I'm going to ramble a lot about a different topic, so strap in your seatbelts. Also, yes, I can't spell. I said Maximilian Dood. Maximilian Dood? Maximilian Dood. I can't spell. English is hard. The video still came up. You know, the funny thing about this too is, you know, people, you know, like see me predict these games, or they hate it, right? Been predicting these games for like 20 years over and over and over and over again. And I was like, that's why I was like, man, even last year, I was like, I could leave for an entire generation of games at this point, and no one would catch up to me, right? You know what I mean? I've just accurately predicted these things for so long. I need a losing streak here soon, or at least need to give you guys a chance at this point. But the Maximilian Dude is always funny to me because this dude used to fucking, you know, like link to my videos during the Marvel fucking days. Then Dragon Ball Fighter Z, a game that I predicted unlike anyone else has ever predicted a fucking fighting game before. Like from basic stuff to combo video stuff. I was telling all these guys, I can tell this is how Dragon Ball Z is going to work. I can tell, try it out, just try it out. And no one wanted to try it, dude. And I even showed the messages. I don't want to show exactly who got me because I don't want them to get fired or never be able to make a living, so to speak. But they're like, oh shit, you were right. We just didn't bother to try it. But actually, you know what? Guess what? Bandai Namco actually had given us the full game. We've had it this entire time. What else do you want us to try? We can do it now because we have the full game. Once they saw me doing everything in the beta. And I was like, when have I ever been wrong about games in the first place? Just fucking try it. It's insane to me. So I've already said things that instantly that I have seen in this game that I would have tried right when I see it for 5 seconds. That's exactly what I would have tried. So I just think it's funny that the Maximilian guy used to fucking follow me. And it's just like, imagine you got this game. Clayton has told you guys how this shit has worked before, and no one has tried the shit that I have said to try. Just take 5 seconds. They gave you the fucking game for a fucking day for free. Insane. So here's what I would have tried with Ken going along with a lot of these different ideas, right? So we know the drive impact thing, the custom combo thing. What the fuck is it called? Custom combo green slimer shit? I already forgot. Custom slimer shit. You know what I mean? These kind of combos, you get the green splash there. You do more damage. So then you can do the run-in, and the whiff run-in then actually allows you to link off of it. However, right here I want to talk about something, and this is getting like much more deeper about the game. He does the flaming hurricane kick run thing, right? And when I was looking at this, I see like, okay, so now I actually get to see what the flaming hurricane kick looks like. And you can see they basically get out like at the exact same time, basically. So my thought is, what is the point of the flamer hurricane kick? Because they already know that we already know that they gave Ken the Akuma hurricane kick in the Dragon Punch links for the past couple of games, which I think is retarded. Let Akuma be Akuma, right? You know what I mean? So then I'm like, well, what is the actual real purpose? And again, I'm going to get deeper here. What is the real purpose then of the flaming hurricane kick over the other hurricane kick? Like, why would you do it? Because it doesn't look like it does that much damage. Is it really just for like, oh, okay, well, you know what I mean? Maybe if you're like losing the match and you want to go for a throw reset or some shit like that because it do a little bit more damage. But I was thinking, or it could just be something, again, we go back to here, whatever. We know the green slimer. I've already forgotten the name. You know, that shows how much I've been paying attention. But green slimer, we know your next move does more stun. And we know it also counts for multi-hitting moves because we've seen Ryu do overheads and they both create the blue or the green slimer effect, whatever, and they do more stun, and it lets you, even though it looked like you're about at neutral with Ryu's overhead, it increases the stun to the point that you can then link off of it. So the first thing I would have tested when I see that his hurricane kick works like this is I would have just dash right there and do the flaming hurricane kick instead of the fierce. Because I would have liked to see then, after the flaming hurricane kick there, as I fucking drop my mouse, after the flaming hurricane kick there, you know what I mean? Are you then allowed to link off of the flaming hurricane kick, right? Because we've already seen there's a precedent that when you do green slimer mode, again, like I already forgot what it's called, multi-hitting moves carry the stun. So does that mean that Ken has two options, so to speak, that are his green slimer shit? You either do the run in, stand fierce, whatever, I don't know, whatever the attack is, right? Green slimer, you get a whiff, you're allowed to whiff the run into then link. Or would you then, or could you just choose maybe run into the flaming hurricane kick? And are you stunned after it? Because right now, the game looks like, since it looks like you get out at about even, just like how Ryu's overhead normally is, I would assume that you can then now link off a flaming hurricane kick, right? That is like a 5-second thing. Like instantly when I saw that, I'm like, why wouldn't you test that? And then it's like basically, well, what does more damage, right? And I would even think that maybe that gives Ken an option. You know what I mean? Something like, oh, you're in a fireball war, some shit like that from full screen. And we already know when you parry into green slimer rush, it doesn't take as much bar. So maybe Ken has some really funky, fucked up, funky butt loving punishes or something of parry fireball full screen, green dash in hurricane kick, you know, to make you're farther away. But then again, you also have, which I haven't seen people really use, is we've seen that you can actually jump with green slimer to do stuff for more stun, right? So green slimer if you're Ryu. I should have looked up the names. I'm sorry. Green slimer, drive rush. Is it drive rush? I freaking forgot. Green jump in, jump roundhouse with Ryu or some shit. Would it then combo into rush fierce? You know, that kind of shit. These things seem like such simple things that I would have tried. Man, if I, like 5 seconds, I would have tried that shit, right? Or say Ken, we see his funky kicks, right? The funky crazy kicks. They look like they leave you at about even, each one. Could you green drive rush funky kick and do both hits then count as, you know, you can link off of it? Because the precedent rate so far that we have seen with the other moves is that is how the game works. That's why it's crazy to me. Like, I don't think that predicting how games works is always that complicated if you know what you're looking for. It's like, dude, we've already seen evidence of something works like this. We have a precedent. See if the precedent works with everything. Instead of like, it's like, oh, that works with that. Oh, awesome. I'm only ever going to use that there. Never try it with any other move that does that. It's like, these are simple things to test. But one of the shades of gray of this, though, when I think of that, I hope that this game, because then I'm also thinking that, you know, you say a character like Kimberly, the guy, she has like a guy, it almost kind of looks like Maki's run thing where she like kicks you, but then she like hops off of you and then she can like go each way and attack you. So then I'm thinking, like, again, roll with me here. So then Kimberly green drive rush into her overhead move where then she hops over you. Then does that mean that hop is actually a true combo because it does more stun? So then is that Kimberly's canned green rush string? Oh, I hit you with a green rush. I'm going to do the Maki move, special move. Oh, it hits you once. Now this is normally a mix-up, but now it's actually a combo because I green rushed. Boom, boom, combo. Just like Ryu. We've seen that some of this stuff does more stun. Why does no Ryu try just do an attack to the fucking slow fireball? Normally that doesn't combo, but you would think because of the more stun, combo. So what I'm getting at is the drive rush thing I think seems interesting. There's a lot of stuff to do with it, but I'm almost wondering if there's a lot of fucking canned fun with it. It's not really spontaneous, so to say. There's always, this is what you do here. Oh yeah, great. The flame, you know, hopefully you see I'm getting like, oh, flaming hurricane kick has almost no use. You know what I mean? But it's your green drive rush move. It's your Slimer rush move. Kimberly's one move, that's your one go-to green drive rush move because that always counts. Did you get what I'm saying? It kind of feels like, oh, this is kind of cool that it does that, but I'm like, I'm wondering if every character kind of has their pre-planned green drive rush Slimer move, which is kind of boring maybe. I'm not saying everything is KEN because again, earlier they showed you could jump with it unless they took that shit out. And but when I look at shit like I saw Ryu, Ryu like, oh yeah, you can combo after his overhead, blah blah blah. But then they show Guile. Guile has that overhead that he's had since Street Fighter 4, I think, which looks exactly like Ryu's, and he can combo off it. And I'm like, oh, these shades of gray. Talking about it deeper, like, fuck. You know what I mean? One of the problems with video games, and I talk about, is the progression. It is, you can only progress these characters so far, you know what I mean, with some of the stuff they're doing before they start becoming shades of gray of each other. Do you know what I mean? Do you see what I'm getting at here? And it's like, oh, that's cool that Ryu can do that. But that's like, oh, wait. Every character is going to have that's my green drive rush overhead. And it kind of, you know what, like I said, there is like a potential complexity in simplicity, just like there's a potential complexity in redundancy. You know what I mean? Even when I look at this game, and I've said it before, I don't like all these, no proximity normals because you can even see this game. How many attacks they just hit the guy ducking? You know what I mean? When it's one of the problems with the Street Fighter Alpha games. You know what I mean? And I use a game like, the Street Fighter Alpha games. You know what I mean? Like, say, a character like Shoto's, right? Specifically like KEN. You think of like KEN standing strong in like the Street Fighter Alpha 2 games. You're like, man, Shoto characters were not designed to have these kind of poking normals. Do you know what I mean? And that's why they feel kind of like oppressive almost. Like, man, why is standing strong? It does so much. It's a poke. It's a cancelable attack. It technically anti-airs you. It functions as so many different things because you have actually removed proximity normals. You are inevitably giving some of these normals, making them so fucking versatile, and they do so many different things. Like for sure, like when I look at KEN, I think it looks like his stand forward auto combo and everything like that. And I'm like, that looks really fun. But I'm like, man, some of these characters, like, you can't make every character, oh, this is this character's pose. This, do you know what I mean? Like, there's these shades of gray, unfortunately, when you constantly progress characters because there's only so much you can do in a 2D fighting game. You know what I mean? There's only so much you can do. And when you continuously try to progress these characters, you can see they start becoming different shades of gray of other characters. You know what I mean? That's why I think that it's not bad to keep characters with stereotypical, archetypical strengths sometimes, because sometimes when you progress these characters, as much fun as it might be in certain areas, if you start looking at it more analytically, it's like, ooh, this is just a different shade of gray of this character, right? Do you get what I'm getting at? And I'm not saying that none of it looks fun, you know what I mean? Because like I said, KEN, he looks fun. I mean, the funky kicks, they look fun. But then, I'm just not really a fan of no proximity normals. Every move is a multi-function to a different degree because inevitably it's the precedent of all these different games. When you have so many moves that, function in different ways, you're going to start having games like Street Fighter Alpha 2 where it's like, man, why is my move so bad here? You know what I mean? My move has I already have less buttons and functions, and this move is so bad comparatively. So I just, oh man, I don't know. I guess, some people in the community think it's good, but I just, you got to be able to look at these games analytically, dude, and see that there's a problem with doing it too. Like, not every character should be a character that is able to poke you like that, I think. I mean, I still think the game system looks cool. I think the game system, and it's what I've always said, game system is one of the only new things that you can, put a new spin on fighting games with, right? You know what I mean? Because, and I think they're doing an interesting job. Supers still feel special because supers are their own meter. You know what I mean? And then you have the non-binary gender fluid system that is both offense and defense. Top, bottom, you can go both ways. Gender fluid, non-binary. I think it's a fun idea. Do you know what I mean? Having all offensive and defensive capabilities, and there's the tug of war. Like I said that last video, I was trying to talk about, I think some people were not understanding what I was saying. Were saying. I think away in the system, in a sense, with the drive impact thing, it's kind of the scrub a dub factor of it. I was trying to say that people are like, oh, well, you'll be able to react to this. You can't react to this. They're like talking about this. And it's like, obviously you can react to it, dude. The thing what I was getting at is, can you react to it with something that does not also cost you meter? And that's why I was saying you can see the tug of war of the game, right? People are like, oh, you can jump out of it. You can throw this, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, where? I mean, you can like react to it with this. It's like, dude, I'm just like thinking, like, look at just something simple when a character does like a stand fierce into a drive impact or some shit like that. And it's like, you can look at the characters. It's only a few frames away from hitting. I would assume you can't just jump away from that. I would assume throws are a few frames or something like that. So you probably can't throw it. I want to see someone like, I want to see in these kind of weird situations like this, is there anything you can like realistically do that does not also cost you meter, which is the tug of war of the game I was talking about that you can see. And it's almost kind of like the balancing factor of the game, because I'm sure it's going to feel kind of spazzy depending, like, oh, there's going to be like the quotation marks good player, and oh, he lost to this, scrub quotation marks because he just hit me with these random drive impacts and I didn't have the meter, you know what I mean, to, it's like, obviously you can react to it, but can you react to it with something that does not cost you meter as well? That's what I was getting at. Obviously it can lose to certain things, but does it lose to things that don't cost you anything, right? The wagering aspect. Oh man, but yeah. Besides that, I don't know why I didn't see anyone do the drive rush into the drive impact thing in the corner. It should combo based on what we see about the fucking game. Why this is like 5 second shit. Why not be like, oh, 5 seconds? Let me see if this works or not. Just such, I don't know, man. Anyway, yeah, like I said, the system is still interesting for what it is. I hope some of the stuff I'm worried might just be this is the can thing that I should always do. You know what I mean? I wish there's a little bit more. I'm wondering how many spontaneous, let's call it, how many spontaneous counters there are going to be. Like a game like Guilty Gear Strive. And I said it right when the game was coming out. I made all these videos accurately predicting Strive again. While everyone else was just saying how ugly the display was in Guilty Gear Strive, all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? I was like, actually, you can tell with how big the counter system is. I was like, you can tell this is actually kind of thought out in terms of, you know what I mean? That's how long the guy is stunned. And you can tell it's going with the clock of the RC. And I'm like, you guys aren't even fucking seeing this, dude. And that's why I made videos saying that's actually, the wall system is a fucking Strive is obviously terrible. But the counter hit system of Guilty Gear, and it goes along with the clock and everything, and the bigger the counter, counter hits in Guilty Gear Strive have a little bit of spontaneity to them. Because what you're counter hit with, you know what I mean? I know we have like punish counters in this game, whatever, but Guilty Gear Strive, the way that you're punished guys and the way that it goes off how many frames, where it's like a little invisible time meter, how often the guy's frozen, you can keep comboing them, is kind of interesting, right? Like it's a little bit there's a little bit of a spontaneity factor there to being able to adjust to that. And, I don't know. I'm wondering what is the spontaneity factor of, adjusting on the fly to random counter hit stuff here. Because, a lot of punish counter stuff, like even in like, Street Fighter 5, all this kind of shit, like, oh, I whiffed a DP. It's going to be a counter hit. It's not like spontaneous, right? I think that like maybe in like Street Fighter 6, if maybe there's certain kind of counters that, oh, maybe I hit you with the counter hit, and then my next move also does more stun. You know, there's like a sort of like a time frame thing, kind of like, you know, say that guide bug and Capcom Fighting Jam or whatever. I don't. Those kind of things are kind of fun. Like, I don't know. I'm rambling, but I guess I just look at this footage. I'm like, man, dude, 5 second shit tested, dude. Come on. Remember, if you like the videos, like, substitute, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks.